Welcome back to Star Wars Fanatic, where we dive deep into the Star Wars universe and break down the characters you love. Today, we'll be exploring the evolution of one of the most nuanced characters in Star Wars, Ahsoka Tano. From her debut as Anakin Skywalker's Padawan in the Clone Wars to her roles in The Mandalorian and her own Ahsoka series, Ahsoka's journey is full of emotional depth, trauma, and personal growth. In this episode, we'll focus on how losing her master and nearly everyone she cared about transformed her from a snippy, rebellious teenager during the Clone Wars to a cautious, contemplative warrior. We'll also analyze key moments such as her refusal to train Grogu in The Mandalorian and her complicated decision to train Sabine Wren in the Ahsoka series. But before I go on, let's hear what our sponsor has to say. Oh wait, that's me. I've been up since 3 a.m. this morning working on this, and I pay for everything that makes these videos happen. Me, and the members of this channel, of course. Yeah, I never want to leave them out. Anyways, listen to the tiny voice.
There's an old saying, man who goes to sleep with itchy ass wakes up with pink eye. I'm not sure how that pertains to Star Wars, but I'm sure it fits in with it somewhere. But are you tired of being hated on because you like Star Wars? You're not alone. This channel's dedicated to our love for the Star Wars empire. By subscribing, you're telling goofy haters that you don't care that they can't enjoy Star Wars, that your love for it will bring forward happiness in your life that can only be rivaled by bourbon. Yeah, I said bourbon. But subscribe now and be happy that you have done so.
Yeah, I love that tiny little voice. I need to record more of those. That's so much fun. Anyways, perhaps one of the most significant turning points in Ahsoka's life was being framed for murder and subsequently leaving the Jedi Order. This event left deep emotional scars that shaped her behavior and decisions well into adulthood. So stick with us as we break down her trauma, her relationships, and her growth in this in-depth Star Wars character analysis. Let's get started. To truly understand who Ahsoka becomes in her later years, we need to go back to her origins in the Clone Wars. When we first meet Ahsoka, she's just a 14-year-old girl, confident, quick-witted, and eager to prove herself. She's appointed as Anakin Skywalker's Padawan, a decision that seems unusual at first, considering Anakin's own rebellious nature. Despite her age and inexperience, Ahsoka quickly becomes a fan favorite, earning the nickname Snips due to her sharp tongue and snappy remarks. But her growth throughout the series is remarkable. Under Anakin's tutelage, she learns the harsh realities of war, loyalty, and leadership, which begin to shape her into a competent warrior and tactician. At this stage, Ahsoka views the galaxy with a sense of clarity and purpose. She's a Jedi in training, and her mission is to help the Republic win the Clone Wars and learn the ways of the Force while doing so. But things begin to shift as she starts to notice the moral gray areas that even the Jedi Order seems to ignore. The Jedi's participation in the war, their rigid adherence to the code, and the corruption within the Republic begin to weigh on her. And these concerns come to a head when Ahsoka faces one of the most harrowing experiences of her life, being framed for murder by the very order she trusted, or at least part of it. One of the most defining moments in Ahsoka's life happens in the Clone Wars Season 5 when she's falsely accused of bombing the Jedi Temple, leading to the deaths of many clones and civilians. This moment is crucial in understanding Ahsoka's character trajectory. Before this, she was fully committed to the Jedi way of life. However, the betrayal she experiences in this arc is a traumatic event that alters the course of her life forever. The bombing itself is only the beginning. After being accused of the crime, Ahsoka is forced to flee for her life, hunted down by her fellow Jedi and clones. The people who were supposed to protect her are now her enemies, and this creates a deep emotional wound. What makes this experience even more harrowing is that her master, Anakin, struggles to believe her innocence at first, though he eventually comes to her defense. Ahsoka's trial and the actions of the Jedi Council expose the cracks within the Order, the same order that was supposed to be a symbol of justice and truth. When Barasafi, a fellow Jedi, is revealed to be the true culprit, she makes a damning statement about the Jedi Order's role in the war. She accuses the Jedi of having lost their way, claiming that they are no longer the keepers of peace, but rather soldiers fighting for political power. This accusation shakes Ahsoka to her core, because in many ways she has already begun to see this truth herself. But the real emotional breaking point comes when, despite being exonerated, the Jedi Council offers Ahsoka her place back within the Order. This moment is a defining choice for Ahsoka. She could return to the life she once knew, but the damage has been done. Her trust in the Jedi has been irreparably shattered. With a heavy heart, Ahsoka makes the choice to leave the Jedi Order and her master Anakin Skywalker, a decision that will continue to haunt her for years. This event is the first significant trauma in Ahsoka's life, and it sets the stage for her cautious and guarded nature in later years. Her experiences in this arc are not just about betrayal, they represent the loss of innocence and the realization that the institution she dedicated her life to is flawed. After leaving the Jedi Order, Ahsoka is left to navigate the galaxy on her own, without the guidance of the Jedi Council or the structure or the Order to rely on. This period in her life, which we see glimpses of in the Ahsoka novel and Star Wars Rebels, is one of introspection and survival. Ahsoka becomes a wandering Force user, no longer bound by the strict rules of the Jedi, but still guided by her own moral compass. Sound familiar? Sounds a lot like Maul on the other side of the coin. Anyways, when Order 66 is issued and the Jedi are all but exterminated, Ahsoka is once again thrust into a position of isolation. She witnesses the devastation of the galaxy, the rise of the Empire, and the fall of everything she once knew. The losses pile up. Her friends, her allies, and the Republic she sought are all gone. Ahsoka's experience during Order 66 is one of immense emotional turmoil. She narrowly escapes death thanks to her close bond with Captain Rex, but the trauma of the event combined with her previous experiences leaves her deeply scarred. She's now a survivor of two great betrayals, one from the Jedi Order and one from the very clones she fought alongside and trusted. These events leave Ahsoka more cautious, guarded, and distrustful of institutions, but they also make her stronger and more independent. She no longer sees herself as a Jedi, but rather as a Force user who must forge her own path. Fast forward to The Mandalorian Season 2, and we see a more mature but emotionally reserved Ahsoka. By this time, she has seen the full consequences of the Clone Wars, the fall of the Jedi, and the rise of the Empire. These experiences have left her deeply cautious, particularly when it comes to training new Force-sensitive individuals. When Ahsoka encounters Din Djarin and Grogu, her initial reaction is one of hesitation. She senses Grogu's potential, but also the fear and confusion within him. Her refusal to train him stems not from a lack of belief in his abilities, but from a fear of repeating the past. Ahsoka has seen what happens when a powerful Force user, like Anakin Skywalker, is consumed by fear and attachment. She tells Din, "I've seen what such feelings can do to a fully trained Jedi Knight, to the best of us." This is a direct reference to her traumatic experiences with Anakin Skywalker's fall to the dark side. Ahsoka's caution with Grogu reveals a lot about her internal struggle. She carries the weight of her past traumas, the fall of Anakin, her own betrayal by the Jedi, and the destruction of the Republic. These events have made her more careful, perhaps even overly so, as she is deeply aware of the dangers that come with the training of Force-sensitive individuals. Yet despite her hesitation, there's a part of Ahsoka that still yearns to help. She wants to ensure that Grogu doesn't fall into the same traps as Anakin Skywalker, but her own fear and self-doubt prevent her from fully embracing the role of a mentor once again. Ahsoka's decision to train Sabine Wren in the Ahsoka series is another key moment that reflects her ongoing internal battle. Sabine is not a typical Jedi candidate. She's only lightly Force sensitive, and her abilities are far more limited than someone like Grogu. Yet Ahsoka agrees to train Sabine, and this decision reveals a lot about where Ahsoka is emotionally and mentally at this point in her life. Ahsoka's choice to take on Sabine as a student seems in part to be an attempt to reclaim the past she lost. She had once been a promising Padawan under Anakin Skywalker, but that relationship ended in betrayal and heartbreak. By training Sabine, Ahsoka may be subconsciously trying to relive or recreate the mentorship dynamic she had with Anakin, hoping for a different outcome this time on the other side. However, her hesitance and lack of confidence in herself, shaped by her traumatic past, create a strained relationship between the two. Ahsoka's cautious nature leads to friction with Sabine. The two clash because Sabine feels Ahsoka is holding back, while Ahsoka is reluctant to fully invest in her new role as a teacher. This tension comes to a head when Ahsoka temporarily abandons her training of Sabine, showing just how deep her internal conflict runs. Ahsoka is constantly wrestling with the fear that she might fall again, that her student might turn to the dark side or fail to live up to the responsibilities of a Jedi. This strained relationship with Sabine echoes Ahsoka's trauma from her time in the Jedi Order. Just as the Jedi Council doubted her innocence, Ahsoka now struggles with doubts of her own about her ability to guide someone else. This creates a mirror effect. Ahsoka, once the wrong student, now finds herself in the position of a hesitant and fearful mentor. The weight of her past failures loom large, preventing her from fully embracing her role as a teacher. When Ahsoka and Sabine eventually reconcile, it's a moment of emotional growth for Ahsoka. She realizes that if she doesn't move beyond her past, she will be forever trapped by it. This reconciliation is not just about her relationship with Sabine. It's about Ahsoka coming to terms with the fact that she must train her again. She may not be the same idealistic young Jedi she once was, but she still has much to offer as a mentor and a powerful Force user. Ahsoka's journey, particularly in the Ahsoka series, is one of learning to overcome her past and embrace the future. The trauma of being framed for murder, the betrayal of the Jedi Order, the fall of Anakin Skywalker to the dark side, and her survival of Order 66 have all left deep emotional scars. These experiences have shaped Ahsoka into the cautious, measured individual we see in The Mandalorian Season 2 and in her own series, but they also prevent her from fully trusting herself as a mentor. However, one of the most important themes in Ahsoka's story is resilience. Despite everything she's been through, she continues to fight for what is right and what she believes in. She no longer identifies as a Jedi for the most part, but she embodies the core values of the Jedi more than most: compassion, wisdom, and a dedication to peace. Ahsoka's reluctance to train Sabine and Grogu is born out of trauma, but her eventual decision to embrace her role as a teacher again shows her growth. In choosing to train Sabine Wren, Ahsoka is making a conscious effort to heal from her past. She's aware of the risks involved, but she understands that staying paralyzed by fear and doubt will only lead to stagnation. Ahsoka's ability to move beyond her trauma is one of her defining characteristics, and it's what makes her such a compelling character. She's not perfect, far from it, but she learns, evolves, and ultimately accepts that she must move forward, even if it's difficult. As Ahsoka's journey continues, she'll likely face more challenges, but her arc so far suggests that she's on the right path to becoming a wiser, more confident version of herself. She may never fully overcome the pain of her past, but she is learning to live with it and grow from it. As we look toward the future of Ahsoka Tano's character in the Star Wars universe, it's clear that her story is far from over. Her role as a mentor to Sabine is just the beginning of a new chapter in her life. There's also the possibility that Ahsoka will continue to play a significant role in the ongoing fight against the remnants of the Empire and the rise of new threats like Grand Admiral Thrawn, who isn't really a new threat, but he's the big baddie at the time. One of the most exciting aspects of Ahsoka's future is the potential for her to bridge the gap between the old Jedi ways and a new understanding of the Force. Ahsoka has always been a unique character in that she walks the line between Jedi and something else entirely. She's not bound by the old Jedi code, which gives her the freedom to explore new philosophies about the Force. This could lead to a fascinating exploration of what it means to be a Force user in a galaxy that's still recovering from the fall of both the Jedi and the Sith. Ahsoka's legacy, both within the Star Wars universe and among fans, is already cemented. She's a character who has undergone tremendous growth, from a snippy Padawan to a wise and seasoned warrior. Her journey through trauma, loss, and self-discovery makes her one of the most relatable and inspiring characters in the Star Wars franchise. As Ahsoka continues her story in the Ahsoka series and beyond, one thing is clear. Her legacy as a Force user, mentor, and survivor will continue to resonate with Star Wars fans for years to come. Whether she's training new Force-sensitive individuals or fighting against the lingering darkness in the galaxy, Ahsoka Tano remains a symbol of perseverance and hope in the Star Wars saga. And we know how important hope is in the Star Wars saga. As we wrap up this character analysis, it's clear that Ahsoka Tano's journey is one of the most compelling in the Star Wars universe. From her early days as a confident, rebellious Padawan to the cautious and introspective warrior we see in The Mandalorian and the Ahsoka series, Ahsoka's growth is marked by trauma, betrayal, and ultimately redemption. Her hesitance to train Grogu and Sabine speaks to the emotional weight she carries from her past, but her decision to take on these responsibilities shows her continued resilience. Ahsoka's story is far from over, and her future promises more growth, challenges, and triumphs. That's all I have to say about Ahsoka Tano for right now, her being my favorite Force-sensitive character. I can't wait to see what else comes up with her. Yeah, I'm really excited for that. I am. But before I go, here is another quick word from our sponsor, and that sponsor is me and the members of this channel. If you'd like to become a member, just click the join button. Become a member. You get exclusive stuff.
Warning, make sure you clean your butt before you go to bed. I don't want you to get pink eye. Also, subscribe to the channel to hang out with one of the most engaging YouTubers in Star Wars community. Tired of being ignored by other Star Wars YouTubers? Well, that won't likely happen here. I love you. So, push the shiny red subscribe button and make all your wildest dreams come true.
Anyways, that'll do it. Until the next time, this is Gerald, a Star Wars fanatic, signing off, wishing you all great health, happiness, and peace. Thank you all for watching, and remember, this is the way.